Hello, welcome back to Sim by the Mile. You join me here today in Train Sim World 6 and we're sat here at Plymouth in this GWR class 802 and we're going to be taking this all the way from here Plymouth to Exeter St David, so I hope you all stick around for the journey. Ready to leave now, we got doors closed, so reverse us forward. We'll start putting on the power. Brakes are off. You see the brake bar pressure going down on the dial ahead of us.
Western Railway service to London Paddington. We'll be calling at Totnes, Newton Abbot, Exeter St David's, Tiverton Parkway, Taunton, Castle Carey, Westbury, Pewsey, Bedwin, Newbury, Reading and London Paddington.
So as you heard there, we do have a few intermediary stops on the way.
The next station is Totnes.
I was just going to say, the next station stop is Totnes, just over 20 miles away, so it's a little bit of a run between the two stations. This sectional line here, the stations do become few and far between. I'm also speeding because I forgot we had the 25. Forget we have a 25 limit coming out the station. We go 25 out the station and then we go straight in for just after this tunnel marker here into the 50 zone. I thought it was 55 rather. I thought it was 55 right away, but anyway, we're back under speed now. So as I was saying, yeah, this part of the line is pretty... the stations aren't as frequent as the Riviera section. Now we are a long train today, we are 9 carriages, so it's going to take a little bit of time for the back of the service to get through the signal, but there we go, it's 55, so let's put the speed on. I enjoy another beautiful day out on the Riviera, on the South Devon Banks section of the route, which is much more of a different challenge to the Riviera line itself. Go on the Dawlish Seawall. This section line is winding, it's slow. We're not going to get any chance to get up to speed here. Most we may get to is 80 miles an hour, I think. And it's very different than, say, the main lines we got last year in last year's Train Sim World release. You do have to hand it though, the graphics, they're really, really good. And this GWR, this 802 looks amazing. We are overspeeding a little bit, but we're going to get a 70 at the moment. There we go, just got past the marker. So we'll keep it at 70. And we'll min brake down to 60. Coming up. To the side of us here is the, can't really get a good shot on the screen, but the Lara Depot. The big rail yard here, you've got some high-speed trains parked in there as they go past, and yeah, high-speed train units. I think there was another GWR unit in there. That's the big turnaround point here at Plymouth. For us though, we head on to Totnes. I think this has got to be one of, scenery-wise, I don't know what was better scenery-wise, this or Morristown, because actually Morristown is really good as well once you get out into the sticks and out into the countryside. Overall, I think this version of Train Sim World have done a really good, they've done really well with the routes and really well with the scenery. So we've got the 60 marker coming up, we're already at 60. Just for a small section as we go around this curve. On the whistle board. So there's probably a level crossing coming up here somewhere, if there's a whistle board. Yeah, that's what you get a lot on this route, is these sharp corners where they have to reduce speed so trains can take them safely. and you find that a lot. Also, they are quite a lot of grades to deal with as well, and slopes and stuff. It is a fun challenge. And obviously, being diesel trains, the acceleration isn't as good as, say, you'd get in an electric unit. But really, we can just kind of sit back and enjoy the scenery on the way to Totnes. We do have random events turned on as well, so we may get some random failures. We do have the signalling delays turned on, so potentially you may get filtered behind a later service. All that good stuff, and door failures, since even though I do have train faults turned off, we do have door failures turned on. However, I don't believe door failures and train failures work on the 802 at the moment. I think they said something as the 802 is going to be getting its failures at a later date. What we do have to contend with, though, we might not have door failures, but we do have a steep hill here, 2.3% uphill. It was going to be a challenge for any bit of machinery, any train trying to get up these steep grades here. And you see on the mini-map as well, we've got another little speed restriction down to 60, probably at this corner that's coming up. Due to the sharpness of the bend, can't risk going any. Can't really risk taking it any quicker. This is a very much different driving experience to, as I said in my other video, very different driving experience to, say, the West Coast Main Line or the East Coast Main Line we've got in the last few years. In them, it was all about getting to speed, with the Pendolino or the Azuma, going full throttle down the line. Here, it's more about the hills and the sharp turns, making it a much slower just route in general. It looks like we might be coming to the top of this climb, just where the 60 comes in. We'll find out why we have this 60 speed restriction. So 60 starts here. And it looks like it's for another sharp bend, really. Yeah, this one's quite bad. You can see why they need to lower the speed to get round, and we're pretty much going through an S-bend as well. So yeah, we don't want to be taking that at 80, 90, 100 miles an hour. Fellow 802 in Great Western colours going back the other way. We go past some of the Devonshire farms. Although not a lot of Devon is known for its moorland as well, and its countryside, and you've obviously got the big Dartmoor, one of the most probably one of the most famous moors in the UK, really, Dartmoor. Awesome viaduct we're going over the river. Well, probably not. It's not as impressive as the Stockport viaduct, but still a good view. So now we do have the 802 in the game. What I would like to see maybe in the future is the 802 on some Transpennine services. might have to have a look and see if someone's made a modern timetable or for Northern Transpennine. Now I know the route is set. The scenery won't be correct as the route is set in the 80s. But with the stock we have now, doing a modern run on the Northern Transpennine would be fun with like the 802 we've got, because that's what Transpennine Express run generally between. Well, actually, I think it's Liverpool and Newcastle they run, but they essentially run between Manchester Victoria and Leeds on that route before it gets onto the East Coast Main Line. Another thing I'm looking forward to is the Great Western Express upgrade route coming out for Trains in World. Although I don't think the area is going to change on that, so I'm not sure we'll get any of the 802s running into Paddington. Yeah, it's Paddington it goes into. But that'd be fun with the GWR license back in the game. We'll also see where else it ends up layering on, like the 802 and the cross-country Voyager. But now though, it's just us and the fields and the Ever and the tractors here in Devon are still climbing up. Making our ascent. Now I think we just crossed the top of the hill now, because it looks like we're starting to go downhill. Now after putting on the power to go up, we have to manage the brakes a little bit. Looks like we're only downhill for a moment though, as it's showing we're back uphill now. Again, this part of the world is very undulating. It's a lot. It's a very hilly area of the country, South Devon, which is why they decided to go via the coast when they built the line. Obviously, it was originally built as what was supposedly an atmospheric railway, and used a different propulsion system. Now, obviously, converted into a standard gauge, but they basically had two options when they were building the line: take the coast, or try and go through the hilly sections of Dartmoor and central Devon. So obviously they went and built the coastal route. It's probably cheaper. Now the idea behind the atmospheric trains was they'd be able to handle the grades more because of how the system works. I'm not an engineer, so I can't really explain it, but yeah, the propulsion system using pressure to propel to make the trains move and propel them along was supposed to mean they could deal with the sharp corners and the grades, even on this bit of the line. Obviously now it's just the standard gauge and diesel engines, which is not entirely what the line was originally built for. But it does make for stunning scenery and a nice ride through the towns and villages of Devon. On just the windy track. Although a lot of people ask about performance and how it's performing, we're playing Train Sim World at 4K, we're recording on the same system, and yeah, we've currently got a pretty reasonable 55 frames per second. I try and my frames are limited to 60 as a maximum, as that's my monitor hertz. Depending on the area, obviously it can drop it as to what it's trying to render on the graphics card. But all the routes I've played so far, in terms of new routes for Train Sim World 6, they've all done really, really well in terms of the frame rate. The only part I've had a real issue with has been the approach to Hoboken, and that's with all the scenery and all the layers turned on. My computer didn't like Hoboken too much, but it was trying to render a lot of stationary traffic parked up in Hoboken Yard. That's on the Morristown line. Other than that though, everything else has been relatively smooth. Even in reasonably built up areas. I will have a video coming soon on the Morristown line, so if you do like your American stuff, do look forward to that coming out. Maybe in the Arrow 3, because I've taken a little bit of a liking to the Arrow 3 and its Metro style gameplay. So we will be releasing a video soon of that. And also, if you are joining us for the first time, I do also live stream, and will be live streaming tomorrow. Tomorrow's live stream is probably going to be more of the Riviera line, so if you're enjoying the Riviera content, do give me a sub. I'll be going live at 10 o'clock or just after 10 British summertime. That's when I normally stream. Sunday is my normal streaming spot. So if you're finding us for the first time, or enjoying this video, enjoying our other videos, we're going to have a lot more Train Sim World 6 content coming out. But do join me tomorrow for the live stream as well. If you've missed the live stream because you're watching us in the future, don't worry about that either. All our live streams are archived, and you can find a playlist with every live stream, so you can watch it on demand as well. And normally on a live stream we'll do a few runs of different routes on there. Currently though, we are rapidly closing in to Totnes with just over 6.5 miles left to go as our alert goes off, making sure I'm still alive. So I believe some trains going through Totnes, because of this hill that we're coming down now and the banks are going down. Obviously we're the lucky ones and we're not having to contend with the hill too much, but some of the trains coming through Totnes don't actually stop in the other direction, heading towards Plymouth, just so they can keep the speed up before they tackle the hill coming out of the station. It's decided that some of the trains, basically, if they stop at the station, they're going to struggle to get back up to speed, so they essentially just skip it one way, because the hills are just so severe in this area. I mean, you can see on the information in the top corner, the grade just getting steeper and steeper. We've gone from 0.6 to 0.8. And just always going down and getting steeper the grade on the hill. Best way to control the brakes is just to pop a tiny bit of minimum in. Just to basically tiny bit of min brake just to keep it under control. Probably a professional train driver will tell you exactly how to do it. I am definitely not one of them, but we can keep the train under control well enough, I think, so we're fine with that. As they say, pretty much what comes up must go, what goes up must come down, so we went up to the top of the summit and now slowly coming down the steeper hill. So I think this is the longest section of the line without any stops, probably for us, this 20-mile section, which we've nearly get through now. We've only got 3 miles left to go, so we do need to consider starting our reducing speed on approach here into Totnes. Probably in about another 2 miles we'll really start reducing speed to get into the station. At least today we've got more favourable conditions, nice overcast, unlike our last little run in the cross-country Voyager through the middle of a storm and along the seawall. We're really challenging that drive. If you've not watched that video, go give it a watch. Taking on the Riviera line in stormy conditions. It's a good one. It was a fun one as well, a fun ride. With the bad weather. I was kind of interested to see whether we had any weather effects for it. Things like that. We didn't on that occasion. We did almost run a light though at the end, so that's always fun. Spoilers. This is the very end now, 2.1%, so we're pretty much down here and to Totnes. You can see a 25 coming up, station's going to be just beyond that. So we'll really start reducing the speed. Here on approach. So we've been given the green light. We are going to be switching tracks, just going through Totnes. I think, if I remember correctly, this track has 2 through lines, and then the main platforms are off to the side. which is why the line
We are now
reduces.
approaching Totnes.
Talking over the announcement there, but is why the line why we've probably got 25 for speed limit coming into the station is just for the track switching. Obviously, we saw on the aspect signal we're going to be switching track. And we have a green signal there. And you can see the line we're on go straight through. For us though, we're branching onto this line and coming into our first stop of the day. About 30 seconds late, so not too bad for time. I just need to make sure we fully stop at the end of the station. My parking so far has been less to be desired sometimes when it comes to this version of Train Sim World. We actually stop a little long here as well. But I think that's pretty much at the marker.
This is Totnes.
Let's get the doors open.
This is a great...
Have a hop outside while our passengers board. Yeah, so we do stop a little bit longer this platform here just due to the length of the train, being a 9-car unit. But we are going to be departing on time. We were just about 10 seconds before we depart, so no point in doing a cut. Hopefully we don't have any issues, with doors not closing correctly. Let's get the doors locked. Then we're off to, I believe Newton Abbot is our next stop. Yep, Newton Abbot in 7 miles.
Welcome aboard this Great Western Railway service to London Paddington. We'll be calling at Newton Abbot, Exeter St David's, Tiverton Parkway, Taunton, Castle Carey, Westbury.
There we go, brakes are off, the brakes are held for a minute. We should start
and London Paddington.
getting some power and we're moving now.
The next station is Newton Abbot.
And again, another just 25 as we depart Totnes, rejoin the main line across the junction, and then we can get some speed in up to 60. A little nice river coming out. I think that's a heritage line as well, the station just off to the side there. I know there are a few heritage lines depicted on this route. Obviously you have the steam line to, I was going to say King's Lynn there, King's Wear I think it's called, which runs from Paignton. I believe that's the other heritage station we just went past leaving, so you do get AI traffic there. Excuse me. You do get AI traffic there. For us though, we're speeding off into the future as we head towards Newton Abbot. Fellow 802 9-car unit, it looks like, heading back in the way we just came. So soon enough, we'll see the Riviera branch joining us. Probably about a mile or so just outside Newton Abbot. We'll join the Riviera line as that branches off to what would be our right, to head down to Torquay and Payton, where we continue this way. Again, everywhere on this route, until you pretty much get to the coast, you're up or downhill. It undulates so much, the scenery and the terrain, and it really does mix up the skills in terms of a driver, even though it's a lower speed line than what maybe we're used to. It still takes a lot of skill to keep everything under control. And then you also have the famous sharp bends, again adding to the challenge. When we do get to Newton Abbot though, we'll kiss the Devon countryside goodbye as we head out along the river estuary and then eventually to the seawall, and that's where we can really start stretching our legs a little bit and putting the power down. As we finally get a few stretches where we can get up to 90, and then closer to Exeter we get a little bit of a section where the speed limit is 100 miles an hour, so it's very different. Currently though, we're on full power and we're struggling to make it up this nearly 3% grade, heading up towards Newton Abbot. And we do get an achievement for getting our first 80 miles in the 802. Right now, I'd just be happy to see the end of this hill. It looks like it is flattening out just as we get to the tunnel, so it's what we were climbing for. And just like that, we crest the top of the hill and then we go straight into a reasonably steep downgrade of 1.4. And go from being full throttle to try and keep up speed to needing the brake to stop overspeeding. The Riviera line will certainly test your skills as a driver, I give it that. And now we're only 2.5 miles away, so we shouldn't be long until we see the actual Riviera line joining us. This is technically the South Devon main line we're on. Newton Abbot being the junction between the two. I said it was about a mile and a half outside the station where it split, so it should be in a moment. Might just be after this bridge, I think. Can't quite remember exactly where it is. We do have a temporary speed restriction though, so we do need to get down. Yeah, here it is. The line you see just off to our right now, that is the branch that takes you up to the Riviera line. For ourselves, getting here into Newton Abbot, we are about 30 seconds behind, and we do have to go through just a temporary speed restriction on the approach to the station, so that's maybe going to delay us a little bit further. I do like the temporary speed restrictions. And I like the idea of the temporary speed restrictions as we get a high-speed train heading off the other direction, also in GWR colours. I do intend to maybe give it the high-speed train a try on this line.
We are now approaching Newton Abbot.
Temporary speed restriction should be starting just here. I'm not seeing the marker for it yet. So it looks like temporary speed restriction signs are on that platform, but it did show it for us. We just passed the marker, but
This is Newton Abbot.
decent enough for a train stop. Newton Abbot, a nicely modelled station, looks really good. All the stations, on all the routes to be fair, all look really good in terms of the design and the graphics. So we are going to be leaving on time pretty much. We'll get the doors closed. We're due to leave now. Brake pressure's coming off. Power handle up. So now we're straight through to Exeter. Should be about 20 minutes until we get there. We finally get a chance to stretch.
Tiverton Parkway, Taunton, Castle Carey, Westbury, Pewsey, Bedwin, Newbury, Reading, and London Paddington.
I was going to say we finally get the chance to stretch the legs of the
The next station is Exeter St David's.
8:02. As this is probably this little part now between here and Newton Abbot and Exeter St David's is the fast bit of the line. Believe it or not. One thing I have noticed, which does kind of bother me a little bit, is the fact that this should, to our left of us here, this should be Newton Abbot Racecourse, which is quite a big UK racecourse, really. I think it's a flat course. I've actually been to Newton Abbot races. It was a very long time ago. It does still exist and is still a racecourse in real life, yet it's just seemingly not modelled in the game for whatever reason. Now I know horse racing, people can be a bit iffy about horse racing and stuff, but it is a major landmark coming into Newton Abbot, really. It's the racetrack, so it's a bit of a strange omission that they've not included it. So here we go, up to 90. We'll put the full throttle down. Give it some gas, let it go. Until we get to Plymouth anyway, where we do have to then brake going through the station, but really give this train some power. This is the exciting bit of the line. And soon enough, as I said, it doesn't take us long at this speed to get down the estuary. And then we're along the seawall with the coast. You can see the 60 coming up. That's pretty much the the 60 that we're starting to brake for now. That's pretty much the entrance to the train station. Got you to tell when you're approaching Plymouth because you can see that large bridge there. Stretching right all the way across the estuary, pretty much. AWS warning just about speed, letting us know we need to get down. We're already at the 80, down for the 60. Coming through the village or town, whatever you'd class this as. We greeted with an 150 rather, going the other way. And here we are at the 60. Past the little fishing harbour, the marina and the fishing harbour. So what this is like, old fishing harbours and stuff. Through this little, essentially tunnel with the streets above us. As this whole area is pretty much on a hill, and then through the station. Today though it is just straight through Plymouth station, and there you have the sea. There's things I do wish they would do on this route. For example, have the tides simulated. Again, it's probably a little bit too much work to have tides and weather effects and stuff on the sea, but it'd be so good if they did. It's also nice to see these cross-country services going down the line as well. I really did enjoy yesterday's video on the cross-country service. Giving that a try. And putting the weather conditions to stormy. Now this is probably the longest tunnel on the route that we're just going through now. And then once we're out of this, we do have a few smaller tunnels just in between the rock faces. I like the one coming up here where you can pretty much see the other side of the tunnel right away. And this basically leads you into Dawlish and then just after Dawlish Warren. Here we are in the town. This is pretty much where the famous breach of the seawall was, and you had the train stranded here. Scenario you can play as part of Train Sim World. They've recreated that rescue mission. And then Dawlish Warren is not too far away either. It's only a mile between the two stops. A few people there out on the seawall. Again, it's probably a bit nitpicky, but it would be nice to see a few more people out and about on the seawall. Now, if they could have done that based on the conditions, if you have stormy weather, you don't have many people there. You know, if you have it sunny, you know, you have holiday makers and stuff out. Again, it's randomise when people spawn. That would have been a really good thing to see on this line. It's probably difficult for them to do though. So I can understand why they've not done it. But again, that's probably nitpicking a little bit. Overall, this is a fantastic route. I do love the little fun fair as well that we have going past. I'm here at Dawlish Warren. For us, let's give it some gas now, and we can finally put the throttle down, put the pedal down. Start really stretching the legs of the train, although we do have the 75 coming up. I think the 100 mark is when we get past Starcross, which is the next station. So Starcross is just here, past this 75 marker. We're getting in a minute. The next signal's actually at the end of the platform, it looks like. You can see the signal. This building here, this brick building was built when this was a atmospheric railway, as part of the propulsion system that they used on that style of railway. As part of the original design, so that's one thing I've learned recently about this route. So there are still remnants behind of the rail heritage that we have here. For us though, we're going to get up to speed very soon. Just literally through the next signal block. Here we go, here's the 100. Just past the marker now. So we've only got 6.5 miles to go, but we can really now put the throttle down. As I said, this little part from Newton Abbot up to Exeter St David's is the fast bit of the line compared to everywhere else. Again, mainly because it's following the coast and the rivers, and it's a lot flatter land. It's straighter because it's not having to carve through the hills, and we don't have the steep grades to deal with. It just makes this section of running a lot faster. Turn the vigilante system off. Now you see just popping on the mini-map, Marsh Barton Station, so we're nearly there now. The famous newest station on the route, as I'm sure everyone has already told you, including myself. Only opened a few years back. And Marsh Barton basically signals the final run into Exeter. It's an industrial estate on the outskirts of the town. I think that building there is like the big warehouse thing they built on the industrial estate. And then you have Exeter St Thomas, one of the smaller Exeter stations. There's also Exeter Central as well, which isn't included in this line. And then Exeter St David's being the main one. Judging by the light pattern on the minimap, I'm assuming we do have a service ahead of us that we're following in. Because it was double yellow, now it's a single yellow after Exeter St Thomas, so we're probably following a slower train into St David's, but it shouldn't get in our way. We only have 2 miles to go now. As we just gone through Marsh Barton there. Yeah, you can see double yellow ahead on the mini map. Now we're getting to St Thomas coming up. You can see the platform there. On the notification we need to get down to 45. Curve around this corner. We do go just across the bridge in a minute on the river.
We are now approaching Exeter St David's.
So here's the River Exe just below us. And that's a big park, I believe, at the side of the river. Well, there used to be a big park there. Been a long time since I've been to Exeter, but there used to be a big park there. Unless it's changed now. I don't think it will have. For us, we'll just crawl to the end of the platform. Just crawl into the stop marker. And now we are stopped.
Exeter St David's. This is a Great Western Railway service
And get the passengers
to
off.
London.
And that's where we're going to end the video today, so I hope you've enjoyed the video. Again, if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to give the video a like, give me a subscribe as well, and leave a comment as to how you're finding Train Sim World 6. For now though, goodbye.